Hi, I wanted to talk today to let young women know that God has a plan for them. We don't always know where God will be leading us, but we have to have the confidence to know that God will lead us and put us in a place that He wants us to be. Even if it's a place we're not used to, God always has a plan for us. When I think about this, it reminds me of the book of Ruth. The book of Ruth is one of the smallest books in the Old Testament, but it is so important to read and to know. A little background about Ruth is we learn right away in the beginning that she loses her husband and she decides to stay with her mother in law. Her mother in law tells her that she is going to go to a different land. Now, this is a land that Ruth is not familiar with, and it's a land that really looks down upon people from the place where Ruth is from. So in Ruth 1:16, I'm going to read. It says, "But Ruth said, 'Do not urge me to leave you or to turn back from following you, for where you go, I will go, and where you lodge, I will lodge. And your people shall be my people, and your God, my God.'" How incredible that is for Ruth to be so confident in a young Christian. We know now that she is a young Christian because she said to Naomi that your God will be my God. And we already know when we're talking about God, it's the big God, not a little God. So we know right away that Ruth is going to a land that she's not comfortable with, and people look down upon her. And what women need to take confidence, especially young women, if we don't always come from that safe Christian background, sometimes we're a little afraid to share our story or our testimony because it's not exactly the way we want it to be. But know that even Ruth didn't come from a place that she had honor. But God uses all of us, not just the perfect ones. And we need to know that He will guide us where we need to go. Next, we learned that Ruth decides to work for her mother-in-law. And she works in these fields that she's not used to, but she does it because she knows she needs to be the provider for her mother-in-law. So in these fields, we learn next that she is brought to Boaz. Boaz notices her. And what we do know is she is a new widow. She wasn't looking for a new husband. She just knew she had to work to provide for her mother-in-law. So she ends up meeting Boaz, which obviously we know is in her plan, and this is why God brought her to this area. And what's so important about this is we know that Ruth marries Boaz, and what's important about that is they have a son named Obed, and Obed had a son named Jesse, and then Jesse was the father of David, who we know as King David. So this just goes to show how Ruth is not a queen. She doesn't come from a palace or from any high standards. She is a simple girl, just like all of us. I feel we need to know that God has a plan for us, even if it's something we might not be able to do. God knows we can do it. We just need to trust in Him. One of the things that I was not expecting was, like Ruth, to move from an area I was comfortable in. I was married and I had 4 children. We were living in one area, and my husband decided he really felt a calling to become a pastor. And I thought it was a great idea, thinking we would be staying in the area that we were in. But after college, he felt that he wanted to take this church that was about 100 miles away from my hometown, my comfort zone, where I wanted to be, and I thought I would be for the rest of my life because I like to be comfortable. But God likes to move us. God knows where He's going to lead us. So He led us to this area, to people that I had no connection with. And it was really exciting, and I felt comfort. I was not scared about it. God really helped me learn and understand this is where he wanted us to be. So it was a very exciting time for me, and I knew this was a leading of God, and this is where we needed to be. Just like Ruth, she didn't know why she lost her husband, but she knew to follow her mother-in-law and brought to a new area. And what is exciting to know is that we just have to have the faith and the confidence. Over in Proverbs, I'm sure we all know this verse, but this is such a good verse for young women, especially young women. In Proverbs 3, 5 and 6, I'm going to read, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your path straight." How exciting to really learn this scripture where it says, do not lean on your own understanding. If we were to do that and always go where we wanted to go, I just think we would not be at all where we needed to be. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about that God always wants to be in our lives. He wants us to be working. He wants us to go when he says go. And we need to know that he has it all figured out, that we will not have it figured out for a long time. Sometimes it does come to us right away, which is awesome. But we need to let him guide us, and we need to be faithful, and we need to have the confidence that he will move us where we need to be. Thank you.